Okay, everyone. The Prime Ministers will be here in just seconds, I think. After the press conference, you can be seated in this room or go back to the waiting room, but you can't go in between. If you want to cover the next press conference as well, you can stay here if you like. Okay?
Velkommen til pressekonferanse på toppen av Munch-museet. Det en stor glede å ønske mine nordiske kolleger velkommen til en full dags møter i den nordiske statsministerfamilien. Og for at alt dette skal henge godt sammen, så har vi hatt møtet vårt på engelsk, så jeg vil innlede på engelsk, og så det fullt ut anledning for dere å stille spørsmål på et av de nordiske språkene, eller på engelsk når vi ferdig med våre innledninger. This has been a historical meeting in the Nordic family. It's the first Prime Minister meeting since we left Madrid, and it was clear that Sweden and Finland are on their way to become members of NATO. That process has been launched, and ratification has been made by Danish, Norwegian, and Icelandic Parliament. We welcome our friends in this context. It is indeed historic. We believe that Nordic cooperation in this family is more important than ever in recent times. We are facing the consequences of the brutal Russian invasion of Ukraine. We are dealing with important global issues with regional implications from climate change, saving the oceans, a number of issues that require international cooperations where the Nordics have a long tradition. We have spent time on a number of issues. Let me mention just a few. We have reiterated our support to Ukraine and Ukraine's right to defend itself and to fight for its sovereignty. And we are committed to support that fight and to live up to that expectation. Also, when 6 months have passed, we have to stay that course. We have agreed to continue a process that started before the applications for NATO membership, namely of deepening our security cooperation and our defense cooperations. And we have today agreed to mandate our Ministers of Foreign Affairs, Minister of Defense, and chiefs of defense to go through the whole spectrum of cooperation, training, common purchase, and so on among the Nordic countries to see if we can go deeper and maximize our common interests, and then consider it again among the prime ministers. We have taken the opportunity of discussing challenges arising from China in today's world. Kevin Rudd, a former Prime Minister of Australia and a leading expert on China, has been in Oslo, and he joined us for lunch to share perspectives on China's rise and what China's challenge politically with its political rule and authoritarian values, what that means in terms of challenge, and also how we can seek necessary cooperation on key issues such as climate change. A very useful round of discussion. We have also agreed to promote cooperation on healthy marine ecosystems in the Nordic oceans. We had an excellent presentation from leading scientist Even Moland from Havforskningsinstituttet, who gave an overview of the state of affairs in the waters around the Nordic countries. We are united by waters. And I think the message from the scientists is that we have critical work to do to restore habitat, restore fish, restore species. The good news is that that is possible. So when efforts are put together, we can succeed in turning deterioration towards something which is more sustainable. We've also discussed work on green shipping. The very important task of contributing with more renewable energy into the European energy mix. We have been discussing what we all face in our countries today, increased inflation, especially from energy, and how cooperation on new energy forms and exchange between the countries where we look after our energy security and look for cooperation can take us forward. So this has been a useful round. After this press conference, we will be receiving the German Chancellor, Olaf Scholz, and then we will have an opportunity to discuss European security from the security policy point of view, but also energy and climate point of view. So this is a brief overview of our discussions. And then we'll go by alphabet, as we have learned, so it will be the F first, Finland. Sanna Marin, please.
What about
Denmark. I also always think of the Kingdom of Denmark, so that is K. No, we will start with the D. Please, Mette.
Thank you so much, Jonas. There are so many things happening in our world at the moment, and therefore a very strong cooperation between friends and neighbors it is extremely important. And of course, what we have been discussing today is primarily the security situation. Russia's brutal invasion of Ukraine has marked a new reality for European security. We have to stand even stronger together in Europe and also in the Nordic region. When we discussed defense today, it was against the backdrop of Sweden and Finland's joining NATO. They are very strong allies of all of us. And asking me, NATO will be much stronger with the two Nordic countries as members. And in Denmark, as you now know, we have decided to fully participate in the European Union's common security and defense cooperation. This is also an opportunity for the Nordics to play a stronger role, both within the European Union and in NATO. Putin's use of gas as a tool to weaken the rest of us, to weaken Europe, demonstrate fully that energy policy has become now security policy as well. And our answer have to be very clear. We have to phase out Russian gas as soon as possible. And therefore, the green transition and the question about renewables is more important than ever. We have to speed up offshore wind. We have to build and we have to coordinate the necessary infrastructure within the Nordic region with the rest of our European continent. We need more infrastructural answers like energy islands. We have to move faster with Power to X. And we have to approve projects much quicker. And the reason why I'm just underlining these things is that you cannot today have a discussion about European, the situation with security within Europe without also having a discussion about energy and climate change. And therefore, once again, Jonas, thank you for a very nice and good meeting where we have exactly discussed those two subjects, the situation on security and how we are able within the Nordic region to speed up the green transition. So once again, thank you for hosting us today.
Sanna, please. Finland.
Well, thank you, dear Jonas, and thank you for thinking me first. But we are, of course, very happy to be here in beautiful Oslo today. I'm so pleased that we are here together. 2 years is a long gap for our tradition of summer meetings, too long gap, and I'm very happy that we are here today together. Russia's brutal war against Ukraine totally changed our security environment. We discussed today ways to make Russia stop its aggression. We must continue our support to Ukraine. We have to be strong and we have to be united. We also need to make an extra effort on the global level within the United Nations and bilaterally. Our message to all our partners and friends in Asia, Africa and Americas is that it is not okay to look close eye on Russia's war. Finland and Sweden will soon join NATO amongst Norway, Denmark and Iceland. Denmark has joined the EU's defence cooperation, and this is part of the same picture. We can look our security together. I want to warmly thank Norway, Denmark and Iceland. You took the lead within NATO in the ratification of our membership. And of course, I also want to thank my dear colleague Magdalena for the good cooperation that we have had during this year. Today we also discussed more informally the role of China and ways to act together as Nordics when our common values are challenged. We need closer cooperation among democracies while we must keep our multilateral institutions strong. It was very important also and timely to share views among us on energy and the green transition. I believe that we agree on moving away from fossil fuels. We must increase the use of renewables and other clean energy sources. This has to be the long-term solution to the energy price crisis that we are now facing. The sharp rise of fossil fuel prices was caused by Russia's war. This is Putin's doing. It creates an even stronger initiative for investments in renewable energy and energy efficiency. And finally, I want to warmly welcome you to Finland, my dear colleagues, in person to the 74th session of the Nordic Council. The Nordic Summit with Nordic Prime Ministers and Head of Government will take place 1st of November. I look forward to welcoming you all to Helsinki.
Thank you, Sanna. Then, Katrin, if my alphabet is right, it's Iceland.
Thank you, Jonas, and thank you, Jonas and Norway, for hosting us. Maybe the Nordic cooperation has never been more important for us when we're going through these very testing times, coming out of a pandemic, and then another crisis hits us, which is the brutal invasion of Russia in Ukraine. And of course, the war has had devastating consequences for the people of Ukraine. I would like to underline Iceland's support for Ukraine and the Ukrainian people and the importance of showing solidarity. The war has had far-ranging consequences for the security situation in Europe, and we see, as my colleagues have mentioned, food security and energy security threatened. As you all know, we have ratified the application of Sweden and Finland in NATO, and we think that these two deep-rooted democracies will be a very important addition to the alliance. Now, we have also talked about the importance of Nordic cooperation when it comes to hybrid threats, cybersecurity, and as you know, Iceland is a country without a military, but we sincerely hope that we can add some value to our cooperation in these fields, which have a very broad-ranging effect on all our daily lives. We also talked about the ocean, a topic very close to my heart and all Icelanders. There is a very strong need for a holistic, sustainable approach when we talk about the ocean. We see actually that the climate crisis is having a very severe effect on our oceans. I could talk about the acidification of the ocean, but also the rising sea levels. Ocean affairs are actually crucial to climate action, but they're also crucial to feeding the world population. And I think, therefore, we can't just look at it as an environmental issue. They are vital for economic and social development and a just transition. Finally, a short note on energy transition. Of course, as you know, Iceland relies on hydropower and geothermal power. Hopefully, wind power is becoming the third pillar for our energy production. But we talked specifically also about carbon capture and carbon binding technology. But as the latest IPCC report shows, carbon capture and storage will have to make a significant contribution if we are to reach our goals. We are working on this in Iceland with a company that's actually pumping carbon into the ground, turning it into a stone through a completely natural but accelerated process. And I think this technology, alongside with other Nordic initiatives, will not only help us, the Nordics, to achieve our climate goals, but will have importance for the rest of the world. And I think actually that Nordic cooperation will be vital to achieve even better results in this field. Thank you.
Thank you, Katrin. Magdalena, please.
Thank you, and thank you, Jonas, for hosting us here in Oslo today and letting us visit this fantastic museum. And first of all, I want to join you, Sanna, in expressing our deepest gratitude to our neighbors, Denmark, Norway, and Iceland, for processing our applications in record speed. You were among the first 5 NATO members to ratify our accession. And I also would like to reply on thanking you, Sanna, for the close cooperation we've had during this spring. And we're very truly lucky to have such good neighbors. And as Jonas said, this is a historic meeting because this is the first time that we meet since we reached invitee status in Madrid. So I'm very happy to be here today.